Stephen Butler, you have quite the hard act to follow. He already is known to all of us thanks to the fact that he was banned from the country last year. That's the surefire way of getting fame in Pakistan. But he made it this year. He is now the, journalist and a senior program consultant committee to protect journalists.
Thank you, Arifa, and thank you, Hamid, for that, those very nice words. I want to thank the staff of the Asma Jahangir Foundation for the incredible work that they did to make it possible for me to come here. And I'd also like to thank the government of Pakistan for opening the door. I should say a few words about what happened last Thursday when I arrived, because there has been some misreporting about what happened, and I'd like to set the record straight. I believe what happened was a lack of communication inside the Pakistani government. I was given a visa and a welcome from the Interior Ministry, but the FIA, which controls the immigration, did not get word that I was to be allowed into the country, and so they stopped. And they stopped because they were not allowed to let me enter as long as my name appeared on their computer. But I have to say, I was there for those 8 hours, and they were rather kind to me. I was not interrogated, I was not abused in any way. I was offered food and water and a place to sleep until it was possible for them to get clear instructions about what to do. So I think they were highly professional. Whatever mistake was made, it was not by the people who stopped me. I truly regret what happened in 2019 when I was immediately turned back. And why is that? Of course, it was very inconvenient. But it ended a period of long, open communication between my organization, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and the government of Pakistan. We have for years sent delegations of senior journalists and senior board members to meet with Pakistan's prime ministers and senior officials of all kind, and we tell them what we think. And they listen to us and they tell us what they think. And that was a very healthy process that was unfortunately brought to an end. The Committee to Protect Journalists and Reporters Without Borders, I think globally, we form a network that supports press freedom everywhere. That's our goal, and I think it's an important aspect of the international media scene. It's true that I and my colleagues have said highly critical things about the way that Pakistan treats its journalists. But Pakistan is not unique in that in any way. Take a look at what we say about Iran, about India, about China. You'll find we speak very openly and very critically. But I can say unequivocally, we are not against Pakistan in any way. We are not anti-Pakistan. Neither were we for or against the government of Imran Khan. We are neither for nor against the government of Shehbaz Sharif. We are not against the army. We are not against the intelligence services. We are certainly not against the judiciary. What we are for is the journalists. Our work, we try to promote it so that journalists can work without interference and without fear of retaliation for what they do. But aside from this, we also see what happened to me in 2019 when I was turned back as part of a sign of the times. At roughly the same time, a few months earlier, two colleagues of mine who were visiting Tanzania were detained and interrogated, and their equipment was seized. These are the first two incidents, I think, in the history of CPJ where our representatives have been treated in this sort of hostile manner by authorities. And what we are witnessing is, frankly, we see this as part of a worldwide decline of press freedom that very much includes the United States. I was looking over some statistics. In 2020, in the United States, there are documented 630 assaults of journalists. 630 assaults of journalists in a country where press freedom is considered an absolutely fundamental value. Those assaults were associated with the election campaign and also the Black Lives Matter demonstrations. But still, it's a shocking number. Those numbers of assaults went down last year, but still remained at a rather high level. This year in Mexico, 13 journalists have been killed so far, and there is not even a war there. In Ukraine, 15 journalists have died. In Haiti, 5 journalists have been killed. And the Philippines, 4 journalists have been killed so far this year. If you look at the imprisoned counts, in Iran, just in the past 6 weeks, 41 journalists have been put in jail. 41 journalists. In Myanmar this year is likely to be the #1 jailer of journalists, 51. China, it will be right up there, although a few journalists we've been able to document who are associated with the Uyghur journalist and scholar Ilan Tohti have been released. We've been able to get in touch with them. There are a large number of journalists in jail in Vietnam, Turkey, and Egypt. In Afghanistan, the media industry has, I won't say it's completely collapsed, but it's under tremendous pressure, and it's just a faint shadow of what it was before August 15th. And in India, next door, the press is under tremendous pressure. I mean, just look what is happening in Kashmir. It's shameful that these journalists, they go to jail there, the courts ordered bail, and yet they are rearrested on different charges, and so they never get out. So I'm going to surprise many of you by saying that despite all of the difficulties that our friend Hamid Mir just described, which are very, very real, in some ways I feel that Pakistan is the bright spot in this region. Why? Because you look at the journalists, you look at the quality of the journalists, you look at the determination, you look at the bravery, you look at the talent, and there is very much to build on. So this is my hope that Pakistan can use this foundation of high-quality journalism and the tradition to rebuild much of what has come under pressure, in the last few years. Thank you.